Or good afternoon for you.
Yeah, it's good afternoon for me, but good morning to you. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Had a late morning. Kind of just woke up maybe like 30 minutes ago.
Okay, makes
But
sense.
uh but feeling good. How
That's
about
all.
you?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good for sure. I was I'm into like the Upstate Cruise League group, like Discord. So I've been just telling them about some of the stuff we've been doing together because there's a bunch of like we went over that Falco diagram, so I was just like sharing it and then just
Nice.
giving them like a couple basic things about like how to like read it. Because yeah, your video is gonna go up, so I imagine some of them are nerds, so I expect they'll have questions. Um, with that said, though, let's focus on you. So, congratulations on hitting master.
Thank you.
Honestly, I'm kind of like I was kind of surprised that you weren't already.
Yeah.
Like I mean I think you're like I've always thought that you're like a quite a sturdy player who just hadn't kind of hit their stride yet, but like I never thought you were like I just figured yeah you'd be up there, but no, like it's also but I also don't know really appreciate sometimes how hard it's gotten. So like how many more like how much higher the level of play is, especially with like just run-of-the-mill players, especially Fox players. So I can definitely see, like, looking back, I can see how that would be challenging. What do you think? What?
Yeah. I would yeah, I've been playing only like I don't know, I would say a few weeks to a month. But yeah, I was always like right below the I didn't realize it was 2200 to be master. I was always like sitting at like 2150, 2175 or whatever.
I mean,
So I couldn't break it.
I'm only plat one right now, but I've also played 16 sets, so
It takes a surprising amount of time. And then also I ran into like I don't know, I ran into meds like 4 times and that was like
friggin' meds.
not was that was tough. But yeah, I think a lot of it was just me. I don't know, sometimes it's weird to play ranked because if I lose, I'll just tilt and play again, which never is great.
You get
So I
into
ended
the
up
cyclone, yeah. You get into the
yeah,
vortex.
I get the vortex, yeah, exactly.
So what is it that makes you? What is it that you think causes you to tilt? I guess when ranked is going on.
Mm, it's a good question. I think it would have been if I just felt like it's kind of the reason why I even started coaching. It felt like there was just positions where I would get antsy and neutral and then just run in with a unsafe move. Uh, just because I didn't want to sit in neutral for longer, and then that effect would compound. Like I would do it more and more, and I think the last like 6 or 7 sets, I just didn't do that nearly as much. The last 6 or 7 sets on ranked, I mean.
Okay. What do you think changed?
Mm, I think a lot of the stuff we talked about, I think I was starting to do a little bit more, like quicker aerials in place,
Mm-hmm.
which then caused them to be the ones running into my moves, as simple as that is. What else? Yeah, I think my reaction points are also better, where I was doing my aerials too low to try to catch them, or when I was trying to whiff punish them, you sent me that little diagram where when I was trying to whiff punish them, I was doing my aerials actually too slow and waiting for them to land.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even that one change probably added up a lot because there would be a lot of times where in previous sets I do get the whiff punish, or there is a move that I can whiff punish, but I just didn't end up getting it in previous sessions.
Okay. So
So.
what? How does that? So did you find that the audio cues helped with those? Like with because I know that reaction points are like kind of a combination of things. Like there's kind of multiple cues we're usually using to like decide what we do. Um,
Mhm.
so I like especially in tech chasing, that's like a big one. I know that I like kind of confirm that like I confirm the tech has happened before I like look for the cues. So then I'm kind of primed, like, for the visual side. So then I find I'm kind of primed for it. So I imagine with aerials that's probably similar, because they also happen in such a strict window. But I don't know.
I'm still trying to get used to the audio cue stuff. Maybe I did it subconsciously, because I'm doing it more in friendlies, and we talked about it a bit more. That one I think I'll have to consciously do more in friendlies, but maybe some of it is seeped in already, you know. But when I'm playing ranked, I can't say that I'm specifically looking for that.
Well, yeah. And I would clarify. I don't think that this is really a thing, the type of thing that you have to look specifically for, like, per se, because a lot of this does happen pretty quickly. It's more about being aware of them and then, like, letting you naturally learn the process for it. Because again, especially with your experience, I imagine that some of this does, like, at least some of these concepts. I mean, not all of them, but at least some of them. I imagine that you do kind of hear it and go, "Oh yeah, that makes sense," and just kind of do it.
Right, exactly, yeah. It's just more like shining a light on it.
Yeah.
To relearn some of these things, because I think a lot of my learning in Melee has been just playing the game for a long time, and then things just seep into my subconscious. But then us talking about it definitely helps.
Yeah. So like, so with that in mind, what's on the docket today? What are you thinking?
Yeah, actually, so I'm going to go to Wavelength this weekend. It'd be cool if we talked about some of the players that were going.
Sure.
And then later I have one Sheik set that was quite difficult, and we could maybe go over that.
Sure. So let's start with players. Do you mean like, is this a commentary thing, or?
Yeah, it's more like a commentary thing, and I mean, I'm sure it'll help my gameplay too if I ever run into them, but more a commentary thing.
Sure. So like, let me just pull up the wiki, like the Liquipedia page. Oh, do they have the entrance list? Okay, cool. So they do, and then I'll share my screen and we can kind of talk about this.
I think we could even talk about the differences between like some of the big Fox players that go, because I know you coach Moky. And then Joshman, Aklo, Lucky, and SFOP are also going. And it'd be kind of cool to talk about, you know, what their styles are like, or, you know, what their strengths or weaknesses are, things of that nature.
So let me just open something. Let me just get YouTube opened. And then what I want to do is let's look at so you said Aklo is one of... No, you said Aklo among others. Aklo, Joshman. How do you feel about
Moky.
Chem, Soonsay? Oh, and Miles is going. Let's go.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of strong foxes.
So if I had to just... So the ones that I work with are Moky and Soonsay.
Okay.
Let's see who else is on this list. Mateo, no. Null, no. Skurzo, no. Yeah, it's really...
Joshman. I think Joshman's also there.
Yeah, no. I'm just seeing who I work with. Like who I coach.
Got it.
So it's really just the Canadians today. There's no meds or anything like that, which is fine. So I would say that these two I know the best. Between Moky and Soonsay, I feel like Moky is... So his strengths as a player are mostly his scrapping skills. Which I think is like not terribly controversial. I feel like that's a pretty like obvious thing to point out. Like his ability to move in on someone with good timing is just like unreal. He's very good at sniffing out holes in how somebody likes to like set up their play. What I would say in terms of other stylist, I mean like here, like let's pull up a match. It's better like with a example. So not this one, because like that they were both playing terrible. Like Moky was playing terrible that day, but who's he played well against recently? HBox at Tipped Off, I think. They had like a good set here, like or not here.
He also had a good set against Cody, if you want to fox it out, but.
So I think that Fox Dittos are not terribly insightful for how the Fox player actually plays, believe it or not.
Fair enough.
Because it's such a unique matchup in that a lot of the offensive things that he does versus other characters just don't work against his frame 4 Shine Out of Shield. So like there's certain things that you can get away with that you can't get away with elsewhere. I know that Jigglypuff is a little unique, but one thing I want to point out is that like look at how he moves in relation to Hungrybox. Like, he's kind of like jockeying for a position in like, he's using the standard things you'd expect from a fox, like, you know, aim for the diagonals, kind of go around Jigglypuff or get under her. But he's more willing to linger in the horizontal spaces as well to look for time, like look for openings on the basis of like Hungrybox's like timing, no, on like understanding or anticipating Hungrybox's timing. Now you could argue that this is not a good idea because he's like losing right now, but I think he does win this set. So there's kind of like a give and take here. Like, it's not. I think that it winds up incurring more risk, but there are opportunities for hits that are available to him that are not available to a safer style. Like, it's kind of like how Mango used to play when he was like more on Fox, if you want to think about it that way. Like, very similar, okay. very similar strengths.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Here,
like, let's go into like a little later in the set. Like, you would think that you would think that after seeing Hungrybox like obliterate a fox like that, this is done. This is like a done deal. But like as we go through this set, like very strong. Like this is a strong showing on the counter pick, right? So a lot of like the advantage to the to a more timing, to a style that like understands like the nuances of timing is that timing allows you to win positions that like you're not supposed to be able to win from a positioning / advantage state perspective. It gives you like the 25%, like when people talk about like how this covered everything but this one timing, this is that time, like that timing that you're leaving, that is left open by the opponent's like variability in their movement and such. Yeah, like that, having access to that is how you win those otherwise unwinnable situations.
Got it. Is there anything that has come up that kind of points to that so far? I know we're kind of just skimming through it.
Let's look at this Dreamland game. I think we'll see things here. So like, he's like running away from the game already. So one thing I'd point out is he's running away with this game already. Like that's a very early, like that's a very big like stock to take on Dreamland like this quickly. Yeah. So the fact that he's like able to get pressure started on Hungrybox's nair there, whether or not he is or isn't successful, like whether it leads to more or not, he was still able to get an initiation on something that I think that a lot of players wouldn't have bitten on. So that's another like 18 damage that he has while he's already got a lead. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. That's what you're saying.
So this is another kill if he gets it, yeah. So like that 18 damage was quite meaningful because without it, he doesn't get that kill off that throw. So then what happens here? So messes up that. But, like, okay, willing to nair like that. So, like, look at this nair. See? It's because he's willing to do stuff like this that he's able to get, like, this punish on Hungrybox's whiff grab. So he's playing in a lateral spacing that traditionally foxes don't bother with. He's also willing to play behind Hungrybox a lot more, even though there's back air there. So, because he has a good sense on, like, when Hungrybox is doing his things, like, he's able to capitalize really, really hard, and he's running away with this Dreamland game. It's cool, huh?
Yeah, it's cool. I guess it can be a little bit scary against Puff in particular. Would you say that? Or if the fox is playing...
But look at it.
I mean, it's really adding up for sure. It's really adding up for sure.
To me, this is just high risk, high reward play. Like there is going to be part of it that is just scary. Like that's all there is to it. Moky is like, if you've seen a Moky play, like there's certain games where it's like, how did he possibly win this? And there's other games where it's like, how did he possibly lose this? And this is just what goes into that. Like he's willing, like he's willing to do the impossible because he can. And I think that at the end of the day, he's kind of more, he is a fierce competitor, but he's also kind of an artist or creative. And I think this is just how that comes through.
Yeah, no, that's fair. He's willing to let it ride.
Yeah, he wants to win his way. And I think that's actually quite noble, quite admirable. Like, especially in a game that's like as storied as this one and as streamlined, like to say that I don't care and I just want to do my thing, like that's kind of, that's kind of special in a way.
Definitely.
What's a good Soonsay set to watch? I feel like okay, so what do we say about Soonsay? Fox did Oh God. Starting with that. Like, I know that he's, I think that it's tightened recently, but like, Yeah, let's look at that. Not... Was it Battle of BC that he won? Yeah, that he beat Cody? Yeah.
There's also a good... I think there's a good set with him and Wizrobe, where he wins at Gommel. I'm trying to think of good Soonsay sets.
Yeah, let's look at him versus Wizrobe from Gommel. I think that's a good, better one, because I don't... Here we go. So Soonsay is what I'd actually consider like a Fox style that he's like... Soonsay to me is like a old Fox style that he's like put a modern spin on. So I think that like when I look at his, I think it kind of harkens back to like Foxes like Cactuar, who are pretty infamous. Like Cactuar, I would throw in... Who had a really good dash dance? Good dash dance Fox. But I mean like exceptionally good dash dance Fox. I don't want to say Mango again, but I feel like I'm gonna have to.
I know, that's what I was thinking too. But
I know, I hate it. Okay.
Was J-Man ever super good at dash dancing?
J-Man was really good. J-Man was very good at dash dancing, but he was always kind of on the he leaned defensive though. I feel like Ice.
Oh, I see.
Ice makes sense, yeah. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, where it's, like, very structured around, like, the forward dash and, like, the threat that applies to the opponent because of Fox's ability to come in. I think that in modern Melee, we've deviated from that. Like, I was telling you about, like, the power level of aerials and how we kind of didn't appreciate them because of, like, the lack of shield drop, but now that we have it, it's, like, way stronger. And Fox, I think, has benefited tremendously from that because it's just, like, his vertical dash dance now has, like, half beats. Which is crazy. Like, you can just go on the platform now.
Right.
But I think that Soonsay kind of, like, he's kind of reinvented the wheel in a way. Because normally you're not supposed to do that, but, like, he's kind of put a modern spin on what's typically a pretty reactive playstyle. But he's kind of, like, put a healthy spritz of aggression into it, which I really like. See what I mean? Like, he is waiting, but he's also, like, waiting aggressively, kind of. Which I think is, like, kind of fundamentally what good dash dancing is. Because it is the movement pattern that is the most restrictive in terms of your options, but the most active in terms of your control over it. So it's, like, it kind of has this weird, like, it's kind of like Warlock in, like, tabletop games or something, or, like, RPGs, where it's, like, great power, but at a price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I think that, like, Soonsay really does a good job of making use of that. I think it's part of why he was so dominant in the Ditto, because I think that, like, when you have those two characters against each other, like Foxes against each other, the dash is a less committal, like, opener than the full hop. So he winds up, like, doing well into that matchup because he's just more active, and you don't need much offense to, like, kill Fox. So his higher, like, micro... the fact that he's in the driver's seat of his character more often than the other Fox is, like, a pretty big asset. But I think that, like, people have kind of started to understand, like, how his playstyle used to work, and now he's kind of, like, having to, like, diversify and add more of, like, the aerials and, like, aerials, like, access to stand by baking in, like, run cancels and wave dashes. Like, he's just becoming more complete. Yeah, it's good. You love to see it.
Definitely.
He's so, like that full hop there was not something I think he would have done before. I think he would.
So he was a very dash dance heavy kind of Fox, like a forward dash dance heavy kind of Fox, and then now he's baked in a lot more kind of like aerial pressures and timings.
He's more well-rounded, yeah.
Okay. Is there... So you mentioned that the dash dance type Fox is actually pretty good in the Ditto. If you take away the aerials that we talked about, that kind of style is not as good versus which characters would you say?
Sheik and Marth.
Okay, yeah. If he wasn't as well-rounded as he is now, I'm just saying like a past Soonsay or a simpler Fox that only dash dance. It would be a little bit worse against Sheik and Marth.
Sheik, Marth, and Falco.
Okay.
Because, like, you can get by with, like, a dash dance focus versus Peach and Jigglypuff because they suck. But, like, you can't, and, like, you can kind of do whatever you want versus, you can kind of do, like, you actually want to be lower to the ground versus Falcon generally, so, like, those three are fine. Fox is improved. But I would say that, like, a Yoshi is probably about the same. You can make whatever work versus that character. That character is trash versus Fox. But aside from that, like, the characters where the more dash and ground game heavy styles suffer against are Sheik, Marth, and Falco, because what they do is you're not denying Falco his laser. So,
right.
like, that's a problem. And then against Sheik and Marth, you're playing laterally to them where they're strongest.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, especially with Marth's dash and dash back, Sheik with tilts, and then Falco laser, like you said.
Yeah,
that
like Sheik basically creates like a situation where you need, like, what Sheik and Marth do, and Falco kind of does, but like in a different way. But, like, what Sheik and Marth do is basically, like, they create a scenario where Fox has to, like, play around one of their, like, spooky-ass, like, normals. Like, forward tilt, down tilt, fair, whatever it is, like, on either of them. And then they just lunge forward randomly. And then, like, kill the Fox. This is the classic Mewtwo King style, where it's just, you know, like, where he's, like, just, like, chilling, he's turtling with his Marth Fair, or, like, Ledge Stall or whatever, and then he just, like, the Fox positions to, like, beat that, and then he just randomly comes forward and dash attacks them, and they die. And it's like, right. Yeah, like that style needs full hopping in order to combat it. Because full hopping allows you to play in the middle distances and deal with both.
Right, and that's what makes Cody so good at versus Marth in particular.
And Sheik. He's the best at the Sheik matchup too. Like
Sheik and Sheik as well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So who else do we got?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, who else do we got? So Joshman. Joshman I associate with, like, Murdering Peach players and Sheik players. Is that right? I feel like he's, like, been on a Terra versus them.
Joshman has beaten Jmook before, I think at this Battle of BC. This last Battle of BC.
Yeah.
I think that one right there.
And he beat him at Supernova, too, but I hear that, like, Jmook was, like, coming... Like, was not, like, prepared for that one. Something like that. So what does he do well? Oh, my God, Jmook. Okay, sorry.
We can talk about Jmook too. I don't mind.
I would rather focus on the Foxes. That's what we asked about.
Alright, fair enough.
I would say, okay, so the things that I'm noticing about Joshman is he's very comfortable playing like transitioning through the different zones and like being aware of like how his goals transition as he goes through different like distances. So like here, let's watch this again. So after Jmook like SDs, unfortunately, look at how he plays the full screen, like how he moves into full screen to avoid having to scrap with Jmook. So that, first of all, beautiful. Don't play with the scary grappler in the corner when she's at advantage. Very sensible, very demure. Then we've got dash dancing. He moves into, like, this is subtle, but like look at how he moves into, you know, from this distance and then like advances, right? So he's got these lasers going on. I'm just going to slow this down. Going frame by frame is too slow. Yeah, that's fine. So he dash dances here. He knows that Sheik is landing, checks the next jump, and that's when he chooses to advance. So, like, he's aware that at this distance he can't get anything started, play around the, like, lunges. He does that. Confirms Jmook is prepping his jump for a mid-range kind of thing. Advances into a safe distance outside the forward tilt. So he's now effectively gone from far range to mid range. Now he's like working his way in, and he like is able to catch this this landing lag. And he's away. And
yeah. I might be wrong, but it also feels like Joshman is also a little bit more on the dash dance side of things versus.
I mean, you know, as he like full hops here.
Yeah, no, he also, that's true.
It's also FD, like, dash, like...
Yeah, it is also FD, so that might not be indicative of...
He's gonna full hop near soon. Yeah.
Right.
Do another one! Oh no, he CC'd. It's also a percent thing, like, he's at 38, so he can still, like, milk his ASDI down and crouch cancel, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah, so maybe that's a specific position versus him in general.
Honestly, I think that, like... I would agree with that. I want to be clear. When I say full hop Fox, I don't mean like Fox's deleted dash dancing from their repertoire or something.
No, I understand. I'm oversimplifying it for sure. And I know it's never ever like a Fox chooses one side or the other and they don't use the other entirely. There's no way you can get to top level. I'm just like oversimplifying it a lot.
Yeah, so let's take a look at like how this game. Let's take a look at like this first stock of this game because I think that'll tell us a lot. So we have like a run approach, which is great. I feel like run is kind of a little different than dash dancing. It's like a part of it, but like it's kind of more to me in the it's kind of like a bridge between like the stand style characters like Samus and stuff. and dash characters, because like you kind of get access to your normals. That's usually the reason to do it. Like you get access to a larger swath of your moveset, which is usually the reason to do it, which is similar to stand, but it is accessed out of dash, which is like kind of why it's like a middle point between those two fighting styles.
What's the middle point between those two?
Run cancel.
Run, okay, yeah. Run cancel, yeah. So like shield stop or hold down or those kind of things, right?
Specifically running crouch.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Because like shield you don't want to be doing. Shield isn't really like a fighting style, it's just something people do because they have to. But like the things that allow you access to your stuff would be like, so there's kind of like three fighting styles in this game, in my opinion. You've got like the characters that use the air, so like the air fighters. You've got the dash based characters, and you've got like stand based characters. There is some characters can be more than one. You have characters like Sheik, for example, who can be all three, in some capacity. Same with Fox. Like that's part of why they're good. Generally speaking, I think that dash and air are the two strongest by a lot, and then like stand-based characters are like generally the more underpowered ones. Like typically speaking, unless they have like unless they're really good at one of the other two. I'd say that run is kind of like the way that stand characters work is that they basically use things like wave dashing, walking, or the run cancel, like running crouch, to have access to stand, or like stand one. Like basically what they do is they have access to their entire ground kit by doing like these sort of like preset or like minimum distance movements or walking to like go into specific points where they have access to their stuff. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, like the Samus would be the classic example that I'm thinking of. If you're saying all that.
Yeah, Samus, old school Sheik. You could include Mario and Luigi. You could include Mario and Luigi in here, because it also there's like a low traction version too, right? So the low traction version is more of like a long distance fighter, like Luigi, Mewtwo, and Ice Climbers, where they like rush in, but ultimately they're still giving themselves access to stand at some point where they have all their powerful like down smashes and like down tilts or whatever it is. This is the weakest fighting form because it involves wave dashing, which has startup time. The air only really has to deal with jump squat or the time it takes to get to a platform for shield drop based versions. So this would be like Jigglypuff, this would be like Ganondorf, Peach, Sheik sometimes, Yoshi. You could throw in Fox if you wanted to, Falco if you wanted to. You see the character that we're working with here.
Right.
And then dashers are like, dashers are straightforward. Characters with good dash speeds and like good options out of those. Yeah. So I'd say that yeah. So I would say that like, yeah, run is kind of like run is kind of like a setup that's available to two of them, because running into crouch kind of is something you do out of dash dance, but it's also something that gives you access to the same things available from stand. So like it kind of is multi-purpose. It's multifaceted in that way.
So in that way, I know we're talking about the Foxes, but it made me think when you mentioned the walk and Sheik in particular, and we have J-Mook on screen. When J-Mook is walking, it kind of tells his intent of wanting to use those stand-based moves. Is that fair to say?
I mean, I would think so. Like walking is really slow compared to the other movements, right? So like, why would he go for such a slow movement if it wasn't for a reason?
Right.
Wouldn't it be more efficient to do something else if it's just like about getting from point A? Like that's so absolutely you can read intent out of that.
Okay, interesting.
Because it's like a player decision. It's not always going to be perfectly accurate, but like you got to wonder, like, why is he walking and not like dashing? Why is he walking and not like jumping forward? And you know what? Having access to forward tilt the entire time is probably a really good reason for that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Is that something that like I think that you can tell a lot about like what's going to happen just based on what what opening movement the opponent is doing. That's like a skill that I think that separates a lot of separates like the the okay players from like the good players. And being able to like kind of tell what things can come afterwards in terms of additional follow-up movements and what things are likely is what separates the good players from great players.
Right, they are limited once they decide to do one of those movement options, or they are more limited. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. It takes a lot of effort to break those rules too, because you can break them, but like to break the dash rule, like Dash's weakness of like having like restricted like ground options, you have to basically pivot, and that's like really hard. Like it's not. Like, you have to basically be playing at Triff and Zane's level, and even then it takes specific options. You have to kind of, like, have the option you're going for planned in advance a little bit, like the way that Triff does with his, like, pivot down smashes. It's really difficult to break that rule. It's possible, but it doesn't... There's also, like, a how easy is this to execute component. Because that extra attention you spend in like your own precision also like it takes some of your focus off the opponent. Maybe not tons, but like, attention is a finite resource.
Definitely.
Yeah. So who else did we have?
With Joshman, real quick, just on the last talk, I wanted to pick your brain.
Sure.
Does it feel like Joshman did a lot of more full hops and jumps at the lower percent of Sheik, and then once Sheik was at this threshold where the full hops weren't going to net nearly as much, he switched very heavy into a dash dance style. Like here it still feels like it's a lot more aerial based, and then right around here it just feels like full dash dance, wait for the up smash.
Yeah, so I would say...
fair assessment?
Yeah, I would agree with that. So it's like he's just structuring his decision making around like, so there is a PvP component in here, like here. So Joshman is at 50, like is at like basically the party percent for Sheik's like powerful tilts and stuff. So it makes a lot of sense for him to be full hopping here, in my opinion, just from like a level 1 tactics perspective. Because like, he goes for forward tilt, he goes for fair, he jumps around both of them because Jmook is incentivized to want to hit him right now. Because if he gets either of those hits, he can probably win the game off of them. If Joshman does not defend perfectly, or even if he does defend perfectly, if Jmook just hits the follow-ups properly too, right?
Right.
So, like, I think that is, like, kind of the dynamic afoot here, and I think that Jmook is going to swing again. Like, yeah, again, he goes for that up tilt, that up air, and then he goes for a nair, and then Joshman at this point, I think there's, like, 2 reasons he's keeping dash dancing at this range. First of all, he's been, like, knocked away from Sheik, who just recovered on stage with a ledge dash. I think it makes a ton of sense if Jmook really is playing for like a somewhat desperate position, for him to want to boost grab here. But you'll notice he's keeping it at a range where he can actually play around it.
That makes sense.
I normally don't like playing around boost grab this intentionally with my spacing, like this conservatively with my spacing. But given that we're on last stock game 5, on his counterpick, like on a compressed level, and we're at 66. I think that this makes a ton of sense in this context, because all he needs is a hit, and all he needs is a hit. So he's just being like, I just will not get hit by this. It doesn't make sense to play the risk reward versus that tool in this spot, so I'm just gonna like full commit to like beating it, which is why he's like keeping this very measured distance, and then Jmook lunges anyway and winds up in a spot that he can like take the game on.
Got it. And normally you don't like playing, or you mentioned not wanting to play that distance away because you're only really covering that boost grab distance away.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. It
like,
doesn't really defend against anything else.
Yeah,
like you're so far away.
You're too far to really like hit anything of your own. And I find that if you like, so I have to be careful what I say here. It's not that I wouldn't ever do it. It's just that if you always are playing around the boost grab and dash attack distance, you are allowing Sheik to basically walk you to the corner and then set up her game plan anyway. You're not
pushing yourself into the corner by doing that sometimes.
Yes.
Got it. I see.
Because you're also too far with characters that are not Captain Falcon or Ice Climbers or Luigi. You're also like too far to be able to actually punish her. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
all she has to do is just walk forward, which is, like, one of her strengths. And then you will just eventually hang yourself if you're always trying to deny that. So there is, like, a very specific balance. And I think that with how badly Sheik's boost grab and dash attack line up to just standard fighting, it's just not worth playing around with to the degree that people do.
Right.
Because it's just got such bad odds at winning fights.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I know if you say something like, "Oh, you shouldn't do this," I know you don't mean never do this. I know melee is too intricate to have.
Oh no! This is more covering my ass if I put this up later. This is not to do with you. Like, I know that you know your stuff.
Yeah. Melee is too intricate to say that any one thing is bad and you should never do it. No, I know. But it is good to cover your ass for other people watching.
You know what? No, let's be toxic. Everything I say is absolute. There's no nuance, there's no exceptions. All things are as KK decrees it.
Yes.
Kirby is top tier. Anyway, moving on. The only other the players that I'm actually really interested in. So one person in particular that I'm kind of curious about how they're gonna do is Zanya. Are you familiar with Zanya?
Yeah, she won the Mango in Progress recently. Yeah, but tell me about her.
So she's really, oh god, like it's so like I'm trying to think of how to describe her. So one thing I want to point out is that like she's the GOAT at the Donkey Kong matchup. So like if there's any monkeys heading to this tournament to like pick off the foxes, like my god, like she's gonna eat or will eat. I don't know how you do this, how you do the meme grammatically in this context, but like she will be sitting pretty. She's also pretty good at the fox matchup. Like I think that she beat Lucky twice to like win Mango in Progress. Very, very solid in like I feel like in that matchup, Fox, Falcon, Donkey Kong, and Falco, she's pretty solid. I haven't seen a ton of her in other matchups, but like it's always really it surprises me just how effectively she like murders Bing whenever they play against each other. Like apparently Bing doesn't even go Donkey Kong against her anymore because she just like whoops him so much. Yeah. I feel like this Marth matchup is like kind of like it looks a little sketchy, like losing to BZ and Ossify, who are both great players, of course, but like I feel like that's one of the things you look forward to as Sheik. But I think if she shores that up, yeah, I think that she's ready to play. Like she really just doesn't travel, like, but her skill level looks pretty high because like I don't think that I think she's got some pretty good wins. Like let's see here. Oh, they don't have results. I mean,
I think it's at the bottom.
Oh, head to head.
Yeah.
Yeah, Junebug, Koopa Troopa, Franz Nut. Like those aren't bad. Not bad.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
And like she's got like a million wins on Bing, which is like
yeah.
It is Sheik versus like mid-tier character, but like all the same, Bing also, he's got some good wins too. One in particular.
Yeah, for not traveling very much, she's gotten wins like pretty much every time she travels, so that's pretty big.
Exactly. And the other thing you have to remember is that like when you're not traveling, you're also being seated worse generally.
Yeah, that's true. So
like she's having to do this been having to do this up to this point while being fairly like relatively unknown, which means that she's gonna have like somebody like some top 10 player like early on who's probably just gonna like even if she is winning like upsets in winners, it's not gonna last because she's gonna bump into like somebody in the top 10. So then it's like that basically forces like that seeding dynamic is like what really kind of stops a lot of players from ascending as quickly as they otherwise could, which is it's part of the environment. Like I get it, but yeah, now that she's a little bit more on people's radar, I would not be surprised to see her make a splash. Nice.
Is there anything style-wise that sticks out to her about her? That I haven't watched too many sets of her. I've only watched a couple, to be honest.
Let me see here. Zanya. I remember she's really good at the chain.
The chain?
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
So there's like on Pokemon Stadium, I think that she uses it to like survive a couple times in like spots that like you'd think that she's not able to survive.
Like falling down with it?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It only has 10 frames of lag if you like do it perfectly.
Ah.
So let's see here. I'm wondering like, because it would be at like high percent, like after she's like uppered or something. I know there's one versus Bing's Donkey Kong where it like she did it and it like denied like a kill setup. Actually, maybe they posted in the Sheik Discord. Give me 1 second.
Sure, yeah.
Where are the Sheiks? Okay. It happened earlier when Faust was at 4. Okay, let's go back. So we were looking for, yeah. Yeah, here.
Oh, I mean, Sheik has trouble landing, so anything like that is juicy.
Yeah, like, right? And
that's juicy.
And then there's like another one that's coming up when Faust is at like 69. It's like around, oh no, Zanya's still alive, so it's around here.
Oh, that's actually really smart because it does extend below you and you can like kind of wiggle it around a little bit. Huh.
Well, the part that's like really crazy is like look at how it retracts and where she like positions herself, right? So like just carefully. So like when it comes back, it's on the other side of her, right? So with Faust trying to like fall in for like rest or down air, like the behind hit like connects.
So you have to swing it upwards as you fall down in order for that to work, right? Like you have to first swing it down and then when you're below you swing it up so you get the trade on both of them.
Not really. It just naturally.
Not really?
It actually just.
It just naturally does that.
Does
it just naturally do that?
Well, okay. So you have to swing it, but like then the retraction always happens in the same spot.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like that's. Just
I see. Oh, okay. It's I see what you're saying. When you're pulling back, it just goes naturally above like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then like if you look at like the frame data, so like that would be frames like it's no longer out on this frame. So this is like. It doesn't actually have all that much lag. It only has 10.
That is... Dang.
Because like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or, yeah, 10. Yeah, so it's just 10 frames. Or like 11 frames. It's not that... It's actually not that bad of a move. In this context. Which is like wild to think about. But yeah, it's a thing apparently.
Nice.
I feel like... Who has been like big in Peach? Like, are there any? Would you say that like is Wally doing well lately? I don't remember the last time like a Peach did well at something.
I think Wally got top 8 at.
Oh yeah. Riptide. Yeah, Riptide.
Yeah.
Okay, so Wally's going. That's pretty cool.
And Malachi's there. Malachi's always fun to watch.
Malachi is built differently.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna look up Malachi, but he is. But I do love him. What do you think about Chem?
I think
he's like doing well. Like he's like obviously like getting up there, right?
Yeah, definitely. Just like slightly below the other foxes we talked about. Just like outside top 8 each time, but very close to top 8s.
Yeah, I feel like he's just very quietly like building.
Ascending.
Yeah, him and Aklo, I think, are just like Aklo's the one I think I'm most excited about. Funnily enough, because like if we look at his placements, like look at this.
I mean, Aklo is like on the verge.
Yeah.
From the Riptide one especially, it's real close.
He's making a very, very solid case to be that he is an S tier player. Like I think that he probably has a better record on he probably has one of the best records on JMOOC out of the Foxes, like period, because he always beats him these days. And then like Spark as well. Like Spark is another one. I don't think is Spark going to this? No, right? Oh no, he is going.
Oh, Spark is going.
So
yeah, Spark also is kind of in the same. Now getting a lot of top 8s, like very consistently actually.
Yeah, like, this is the thing about Spark. He's not quite like, I feel like he's just being overshadowed by Aklo, kinda. But, like, they're in a similar boat in that they make top 8s probably more consistently than Plup and Jmook do right now, which is crazy to think about. But, like, honestly, I don't think that's terribly controversial if we look at the results. Like, not like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Granted, it's only 2. Like, if we look further down, like CEO and, like, this stuff and, like, you know, Gommel and whatever. But, like, I don't know. Like, Spark is looking good. He doesn't have the same peaks that, like, Jmook and Plup are capable of. But my God, is he consistent.
Yeah, he's definitely raising his floor bit by bit. So the peaks might not be there, but the troughs are not there either.
Yeah.
What would you say separates Spark from, like, Jmook or other Sheiks?
Discipline.
Okay.
Spark doesn't do stupid shit for no reason. Like, so here, let's look at Spark Aklo. So this was a Game 5 set, I think, where, like, they played. And, like, I want to point out something here. So I feel like when Jmook is in this position, he starts, like, swinging a lot. And, like, granted, Spark is swinging, but he's also got his movements. He's, like, not doing nonsense for no reason. I feel like he's gonna die here. Oh, no, he does take the stock from Aklo first. Yeah, so one of the things that I applaud him for is that, like, hitting this fair and then wave dashing into position to, like, do a proper, like, edge guard. And then refreshing properly on the, like, refreshing before Fox moves from the up B so that he's, like, fully intangible. Nothing can go wrong, like, at this point. Like, look at where he grabs the edge relative to, like, Fox moving. So because he's done it this way, he's fully intangible throughout the entire travel time of the up B hitbox. So then with this, he can actually place his move, he can place himself however he needs on reaction to the rest of Fox's motion with the up B, which means that there's no way that he gets hit if he holds. Like, everything, he's so insulated. And I feel like this kind of, like, maintenance habit about, like, how you handle Fox's up B is something that the other Sheiks just aren't really, like, super disciplined about. Because a lot of times they'll grab late, or they'll grab early, and they won't bother with the stall, or they'll mistime it, or whatever. Because they're just like, I'll just, like, know where he's going. It's fine. And it's like, Spark is like, to hell with that. I'm not giving him any reversals. Absolutely nothing to work with.
And all of that is contingent on the setup of the edge guard prior to the aerial, or whatever it is.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Because he might not aerial. He might not aerial. If Aklo aims at the ledge, he probably reacts to that and holds.
Mm-hmm. But he has time to do whatever he wants because of the way he set it up.
Yeah, because he's literally not hittable. So he can wait.
Maintenance is a good way to describe that because it's just discipline, maintenance, that kind of consistency.
It's
really
eating your vegetables.
Yeah.
Like, this is the melee equivalent of eating your vegetables, and, like, Spark is very good at eating his vegetables. I would argue that, like, a common thing with Sheik players, and I think it's partly because of how she works, like, she is kind of a fundies character, so it's easy to feel like you're the best player ever when you're doing well with her. I would have no idea how that feels. But, like, I would say that, I think that it's tempting to start to get, like, a little carried away with yourself and start to think you're, like, better than you are. Just because, like, when you're winning in such, like, a commanding fashion, you know what I mean? But yeah, you can't forget to eat your vegetables. You have to do it's boring and it's not fun, but you got to do it. And I think that, like, if we look at his last, like, edge guard here, like, it's so structured. Look at how well he respects the percents too. Like, let's, like, appreciate this whole stock. So, like, he recovers, gets hit by the up air, like, gets hit over here, amazing DI on the back air. Gets his needle damage in, doesn't go for anything silly. It's obvious that he's, like, wants forward tilt, so then he, like, waits out Aklo's, like, push, gets it, converts, gets covers the out of shield, just dash attack back throw, classic, perfect babysit, measures the distance, easy clap. Like, and I feel like Jmook and Plup would probably drop that a good amount of the time because they just wouldn't pay attention to like It's not they wouldn't pay attention. I think they'd do some like they go for something a little more spicy.
Right. Yeah. They would do something a little bit more like speed based or movement based.
Yeah, they do. They try to get something that's a little like I feel like they would reach.
Right.
And I think what we see from Spark is that he knows when he can't reach, and like a little bit more. And I'm not saying that like that Jmook and Plup would miss that every time, but I feel like Spark is more consistent on those kinds of things because he just doesn't have the same. He's just more organized about what he's doing. His order of operations is just better in a lot of in certain spots. So yeah.
Yeah, if that situation played out like 100 times, Spark would get it like. I see what you're saying. Like the consistency, I'd expect higher because it's structured.
Exactly. I'd expect him to outperform the other two by maybe like 5 or 10 points. Like not some like ludicrous margin where it's like, oh my god, he'd hit it like 30% more than them, or no. Like, yeah. But like maybe if he gets 80, I think that the other two get like 75, 70, something like that. But like 80 is good.
I like the numerical putting numbers on it like that because I think people hearing it might be like, oh no, but that 5% is huge though. That 5% is huge in top level play.
Absolutely. Yo, like so much of top level play is just like you'll have something that you need to work on or something that you got to do, and it's just, a lot of it is just eating your vegetables. It's like that ledge dash that you're only getting like 5 glint on. No, you gotta hit at least 7. Gotta be able to grab. Like, it's just, it's a lot of it is things like that. So yeah, like margin is huge, immense. Yeah. We're down to our last like 7-ish minutes. Did we have another topic that we wanted to look at?
We could look at a set I've done, but I don't know if 7 minutes will.
Oh my god, I lost track of time. Oh,
that's okay. No. This has been a very interesting conversation, so it's totally fine.
Okay.
Totally fine just talking about players for the remaining amount of time, to be honest. Okay. We can pick up the set some other time.
Sure. As long as you're okay with that, because if you're not, then I'm going to be sad, but...
No, I guess since we're on the Sheik topic, you want to talk about a little bit about Krudo?
Oh, Krudo's nasty. Krudo's so nasty. So, what's there to say about him? I feel like what is his stuff recently? So Kadoran, Joshman, Axe, Spark, Ginger, STJ, Ben, Ossified, B-Bats. Like, this is a great resume. Like, this is a phenomenal resume. All he's really missing is people in the top 10. Like, he's not punching quite up into that, like, higher level. The thing that really stands out for me, though, is, like, my god, does this guy, like, this guy seems to mow through the Marth players. Like, I'm looking at those 4 wins on Kadoran. I'm looking at that win on Ossify. He's got 2 on Crike. Calvar, like, man. Marth. And I know he's really good at the Puff matchup. This set versus SDJ at Altitude Sickness is probably, like, the best Sheik versus Jigglypuff I have seen in a hot minute.
Oh, really? Let's take a look at that, actually. That's a cool thing to point out.
Yeah, I've never, like, God, what a beast. Let's... As you can see, I, like, use this one sometimes. I use this one, actually, sometimes as a teaching tool for, like, Sheiks struggling in the matchup. Because so in general, versus Puff, there's a few rules. With any character. One of the big ones is just, like, being, like, not being lateral to her where possible. Like, you want to be, like, diagonal coming in from, like, the upper corners or anywhere below her. Like, if she's on the number pad, you want to be 1, 2, 3, or 7 or 9 in, like, a 3x3 number pad. If she's in the 5. Yeah. So, what Krudo does really well is that if he can't get that position, he just backs off. Or he, like, but he backs off in a way that allows him to, like, play for it, like there. See how he went around him?
Right.
And they got under him? Yeah, like, it's all position, and he's just not willing to play bad hands. SDJ has to basically pressure him, and then make a call out or interception to, like, get a hit. And that's really hard, because Krudo's fast. So I would say that, like, his mastery of, like, the basics of this matchup is just, like, really insane. And you can see that, like, the other thing I want to point out is, like, the spot he's pressuring in. You'll notice that when he's, like, on offense, he's kind of underneath the middle half of the Yoshi's side platform, or he's, like, a little bit behind it, like, maybe that same distance behind it, but he's not, like, in center stage as much. And there's a reason for that, because he's preventing SDJ from having, like, the down throw platform trap. If he, like if SDJ comes forward to where he's pressuring him from, he can't down throw Sheik and then force Sheik to tech on the other platform. So in doing that, he takes away one of her key, like, comeback combos, which is just, like, down throw, force tech, rest.
Mm-hmm.
It also keeps him a good amount of distance from the edge for back, which helps insulate him against back throw. It's just really good. Like, it's just textbook. It's how I would play. It's how I used to play this. Like, this is, except, like, faster and, like, you know, more disciplined. But yeah, it's the same. It's the same strategy I've used, like, a lot. It's tried and true. It's very good. And he's, like, he's added a lot of speed to it to, like, make it run better, which I really, really appreciate.
Yeah, and the speed comes into the way that he might be retreating too, right?
Yeah.
I see.
Like, here, like, look, like, he 3 stocks in this game. Let's look at this Dreamland game real quick. Like, the second half. Yeah, let's watch the 2 minutes of this Dreamland game. Like, he just doesn't play bad hands. And his placement of the aerials relative to the platform to Shark Jigglypuff is also phenomenal. And he just got right up there.
Mm-hmm.
In general, when people are about to land on, like, when people are approaching platforms and planning to land there, a really big skill in this game is just, like, your ability to, like, I love that how he contested there. But yeah, it's like a big thing is your willingness to, like, hit them as they approach the platform, because if they land there, they can't, like, they're going to be in lag anyway, and if they put out an attack, a lot of times it doesn't have enough time to come out before they land on the platform either. So it is just like a free hit in some, you know, if you can set up the timing for it. They have to do, like, a lot of work or, like, double jump to get around it, and Krudo is, like, keeping composed with short hops. So that even if that happens, like, see what I mean? Like, it's just...
Yeah.
It's so good.
And that's where the speed comes in, because even within the short hops, it's almost like waiting for the puff to land before doing it, but you can't really anticipate the timing of it from the puff's end.
Well, and the thing is, even if you double jump to get around it, it doesn't fix your problem.
Right.
All the double jump does is basically put off the problem. The double jump just puts off the problem because she just lands before your double jump finishes. So it's like, yeah, you're still in the same spot, basically, unless you've, like, repositioned pretty significantly. Like, this is really hard for SDJ. Because he's just, like, Krudo's just giving nothing, and I feel like SDJ is trying to, like, jockey for position, but I don't think that he can really, like, win this matchup that way with how Krudo's playing. He has to pin him somewhere, and then, like, force Krudo to, like, play a guessing game.
And play more laterally if you somehow can, right?
Yeah, well, like, okay, so this was a good example. So, like, he gets down into his face and nudges him, right? Boom, grab, boom. So, like, what I'm saying here is this is the type of spot you want to work off of. But, like, he's not covering options he's not covering all the options he needs to be covering. Probably because he's not used to fighting this play style, if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm. Would staying more grounded kind of work against this play style?
I mean,
or
like,
trying to, at least.
I mean, like, he's trying to now.
He's trying to, yeah.
Like, look at what happens when he does. Look at what Krudo does to him.
Yeah, it's still, yeah. It immediately goes for, like, down air and stuff when the puff is playing grounded.
Yeah. So, with that, I would be very excited to see Krudo. I think he's good at the Fox matchup, but I think that, like, his real, like, talents are in other ones. I don't know who is going in terms of other characters. We've mostly focused on, like, Crike is good, like, Crike, Calvar, like, I don't know, like, Wally. I don't know how he is versus. I don't know how he is versus Peach, but, like, this is a lineup where I think that he could really make where he could have a very, very strong showing. The one weakness he has is that, like, when it comes to punching up, like, the top 10, we haven't really seen that ability from him yet, but, like, I wouldn't count it. I wouldn't put it past him. He's been on it. Like, if we look at his placements and stuff, like, it looks like he's been on a tear. So, like, yeah, keep your eyes peeled for Krudo, I'd say.
Okay. Dang. No, that was a good session. I appreciate this. This was a very informative session. I liked it a lot.
Did you learn anything that surprised you?
Let's see. Surprised me. I would say, man, what really surprised me? I think the side B from Zanya is probably the most surprising tactic of this session to learn about. I like that a lot.
That's good.
Yeah, and yeah, I think separating out people's game plans is also really nice. To verbalize some of the ways that people play, even amidst the same character, is always nice to hear.
Yeah, for sure. I think that there's a lot of, what people sometimes forget in this game is that there's a lot of ways to win. There's a lot of things that work. You don't necessarily just have to follow the metagame so rigorously. I actually think that can be a bit of a mistake sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, I gotta go because I have someone at 3. So we'll talk soon and stay in touch. And yeah, I hope commentary and your gameplay go both. No, I hope both go well at now at Wavelength. And yeah, are you thinking that you want to continue on this kind of schedule, or do you want to like go to Thursday next week? Like, just keep me in. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, probably Thursday of next week sounds good.
Amazing. I'll see you then, same time, and yeah, take care, Vish. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, thanks for the call. Appreciate it.